What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today. I've been getting a lot of heat lately. Not so much on the internet, because honestly, I really only post basketball stuff to my YouTube channel. I don't be on other media platforms posting a lot of basketball opinions. I honestly really don't. But just like barbershop talk, people in person, I've been getting a lot of heat on my opinion that I feel that Larry Bird is a better player than LeBron James, and saying that Larry Bird is the greatest small forward of all time. Listen, you guys can sit here and attack me. You guys can sit here and say, I don't know basketball, or scoff at my opinion and chuckle when I say, no, I think Larry Bird's better. But have at it. You can throw all the statistics and the numbers you want at me, but it's not going to change my mind. Like, just like I probably won't change your mind that you feel like LeBron James is better than Larry Bird. You're not going to change my mind, because unlike you, people that would argue against me, like a lot of the pro LeBron people are people that only watched part of LeBron James' Miami career and then everything after that. These guys didn't even see LeBron James prior to Miami, prior to the decision. Or maybe the occasional people that did watch LeBron James play his entire career. But a lot of these kids are sitting here trying to argue with me, and they only started watching basketball fucking 5 to 10 years ago. And I'm like, and I'm not saying you don't know basketball, but there's a lot of stuff you need to learn about what happened before your guy LeBron James. You know what I mean? And yeah, like I said, you can sit here and laugh and scoff, but at least I've watched LeBron James from the very beginning of his career, and I will watch him play, God willing, to the very end of his career. And I have done research on Bird. I've seen a handful of videos of full Larry Bird gameplay, entire games. I've seen hours upon hours upon hours of highlights, dug into the media, dug into the books, have talked with a bunch of people, have been enlightened from a lot of people that were around watching Bird in that time. And based on all the evidence I've gathered about Larry Bird and the media I've gathered about Larry Bird, information in general, I feel like Larry Bird was the better player. I do. That's the conclusion that I've came to. And you can sit here and talk. Listen, LeBron James, by the time he finishes his career, as far as total numbers across many of the statistics, not many people are going to be able to rival him. He's had longevity that nobody can remotely compare to, and he's been able to play at a high level for a very long time. And for some people, they can look at that and say, that guy's the GOAT because he's been great for a very long time, has still been healthy, and he's still going. Okay. If that's something that you weigh very heavily, that's great on you. It is. But that's something I take in consideration. But for me, it's not the end-all, be-all. Kobe Bryant's my favorite player of all time. But I don't think Kobe Bryant's a GOAT. I don't think Kobe's better than Michael Jordan. But let's just say if Kobe Bryant played deeper, like Kobe was playing at a very high level until he tore his Achilles tendon. And then broke his knee and broke his shoulder after that. All right? But even if Kobe had not suffered that torn Achilles and still played at a very high level until year 20, but he didn't win another championship, I would not put Kobe Bryant ahead of Michael Jordan. Even if Kobe Bryant did win one more championship before retiring in year 20, I still would not put Kobe Bryant ahead of Michael Jordan. Even if Kobe Bryant won 7 championships before retiring at year 20, I would still not put him ahead of Michael Jordan, because there are so many other things to look at, considering what Michael Jordan was able to accomplish in a much shorter amount of time, and considering the context I'm giving to Jordan with the retirements and everything else, going to college. Listen, there's a lot of things to consider and weigh for me. And when I look at Larry Bird and I look at LeBron James, I understand Larry Bird's career was cut short. Maybe one thing Larry Bird is, he's a man of his goddamn word. He's a man of his word. And I remember one thing he used to say, what I've learned from interviews, that Larry would always say, I can't see myself playing more than 10, 11, 12 years. That's not verbatim, but it was something like that. He basically said that he didn't want to play a very, very, very long time. Like 20 years, 15 years or something like that. So he probably would have retired anyway. But make no mistake about it, Larry Bird was performing at a very high level. At a high level, was still an all-star caliber player deep into his career. Even dealing with the bone spurs and all the various injuries he played through. And the bad back he got from shoveling the driveway to try to build a new driveway for his mom's. He was dealing with all this, playing as many games as as his body could possibly allow him to, and still was performing at a high level. I'm taking all this stuff into consideration. I am. Look, the counting numbers and the longevity, it's foregone. It's finished, man. LeBron James. And I'm not one of these guys out here saying PEDs, performing enhancing drugs. I'm not going to accuse a man of using PEDs until I have concrete evidence. I can't do that. And I'm not trying to do that with LeBron James. Like, the guy has been extremely fortunate, and there's some luck involved with not having any crazy serious, he's never had any really serious injuries to derail his career. And good for him. I don't wish that upon anybody. Keep going as long as you can. But one thing Too Raw for Sports says, and if you don't know who that is, go check out his YouTube channel. My favorite YouTuber, Too Raw for Sports / Too Raw for TV. He'd always say, he recently came to the conclusion that LeBron James is the greatest small forward of all time because he couldn't refute the facts of the longevity and all that stuff anymore, which I get it. I'm not mad at you. But one thing he always says is peak for peak, he's taking Larry Bird over Bron any day. I'm not there yet. I still think Larry Bird is the greatest small forward of all time. I'm not saying peak for peak yet. All right. But no matter what happens, LeBron James is far gone from his prime. So Larry Bird will always have the better peak for peak, in my opinion. No question. But I look at what Larry Bird was able to accomplish in the amount of time that he played, even given, the season where he barely played. And I look at what LeBron James has accomplished, and significantly more playing a longer amount of time, now in year 21. I mean, before it's all said and done, LeBron James will have played 10 plus years than Larry Bird. And he only has one more championship than Larry Bird. 2 more finals MVPs than Larry Bird. You know what I mean? And Larry Bird played in a much tougher era with much more stiffer competition. I look at the fact that LeBron James played in a historically weak Eastern Conference, created a super team to dynamically shift the competitive balance, not only in the NBA, but in his conference. The fact that Dwayne Wade, after Kobe Bryant winning his 5th championship, Dwayne Wade got on the phone, we recently found out, called LeBron James, says, what the hell? Between both of us, we only have 1 championship. I have that one. Kobe Bryant has 5. What are we going to do about that? Let's join up together. Me, Dwayne Wade, being a top 5 player in the league. You, LeBron James, being a top 1 or top 2 player in the league. And we're going to call up Chris Bosh a top 10 to top 12 player in the league. And we're going to join forces to try to stop Kobe Bryant from winning championships and completely monopolize the Eastern Conference. You can't ignore that. You can't. You can't ignore that. Versus Larry Bird, who's complete opposite, played in a ridiculously tough Eastern Conference and did what he did without having another top 5 player on his team. Granted, the 86 Boston Celtics are one of the greatest teams of all time, but that's something that Larry Bird allowed. That's something that the great organization that is the Boston Celtics cultivated around Larry Bird. But he didn't have this top-heavy talent around him. Granted, Mikal was amazing. Cornbread was amazing. Though different times, I get it. Cornbread left at some point. Chief was amazing. When they eventually got Bill Walton on that team, Bill Walton was amazing. Danny Ainge was great. C-Sting was great. All these guys were great. Great role players, players that played their position. But you have to understand, people, here's the other thing that people aren't taking into consideration. Larry Bird allowed these guys to be the players that they are because of his style of play. Larry Bird didn't give a damn about numbers. LeBron James, he wasn't always like this, especially in his first stint with the Cavaliers. He wasn't about getting the numbers to solidify and validate his legacy. He's became that kind of guy now, right? Where he's so hell-bent on this GOAT conversation and wanting to be better than Jordan and so worried about how the public perceives him and how he wants them to perceive him that all he cares about are numbers now. But he doesn't give a damn about winning as much because he's like, well, I'll never catch Jordan in the winning debate. 6-0 versus all these goddamn finals losses I have. But now I'm just going to double down on the statistics, the numbers, and the longevity because that is the only thing that's going to steer people in the direction of LeBron James being the greatest players of all time and LeBron James being better than Jordan. Larry Bird didn't give a damn about that. Larry Bird didn't care about monopolizing the ball. If I don't get the point, well, there's an 80% chance that I'll get the assist. Larry Bird just played basketball. He didn't take away from what made other players great. You see, people will sit here and tell you that, LeBron James just makes players better. Pass first makes people better. Pump the brakes, man. If you actually watched basketball and didn't just go with what you were hearing from Bronzexuals and FSN and ESPN, you would actually, I'm not even a LeBron James fan like that. But I've watched this guy play, and I'm being honest about it. This notion that he just makes everybody better is not true. LeBron James makes certain kinds of players better. Players who don't have much going for them, that can't create for themselves, players that you can trust to sit in areas or run across screens and run out to the three-point line, or maybe even somewhat in the mid-range, and just be ready to catch and shoot. Those guys, LeBron James will make those guys look better. He'll find them on open threes. But players that can actually do things for themselves, players that have great playmaking abilities, players that have great passing abilities. Playmaking and passing can be very different. Players that can create for themselves at a high level or moderate level. These guys aren't going to shine as much around LeBron James. Especially if that kind of player isn't necessarily the second option. Those guys are going to be turned, or they're going to try to turn those types of players into spot-up shooters, which isn't their game. But I can't see why this is so hard for people to grasp or understand. That's why you see so many of these players that go down in these trades that are centered around LeBron James. Remember when they made that trade in Cleveland and they picked up, Rodney Hill and Dwayne Wade and Isaiah Thomas and all, and then it's like, oh damn, he got Rodney Hill's averaging this, and this. This guy's averaging this, and this. Oh, now you put him with LeBron James, he's going to make him look even better. When I saw the trade happen, I was like, no, it's not. Rodney Hill's going to look like garbage. They're going to throw his ass under the bus because he's not going to be able to be Rodney Hill with LeBron James. What the hell happened? These guys suck. They're garbage. What the hell happened to Rodney Hill? He was doing this over there. What the hell? Why is he looking like he's with LeBron James? Hey, wake up and smell a coffee. LeBron James monopolizes the ball. Rodney Hill isn't going to be Rodney Hill. These guys aren't going to be the guys that you saw them on the teams with before because LeBron James only makes certain kinds of players better. If you are not a spot-up shooter, a Boobie Gibson, a fucking Kyle Korver. Hell, even Kyle Korver had a bit of a decline compared to his All-Star season. But you get what I'm saying. A freaking Damon Jones. If you're not these kind of guys, and you're coming from somewhere else, expecting people expecting more of you because of what you did at that other franchise, and you're not the second option, you are not going to be that guy, and LeBron James is not going to make you better. unless you can find out how to be useful in some other type of way. But good luck, sir. Good luck. Larry Bird never did. Larry Bird did not take away from other people's games in that capacity, nor did people throw other players under the bus because they didn't live up to expectations. Now, understandably so, you work in a certain type of team, a certain type of environment, around a certain type of player. There is going to be some type of sacrifice involved. Truly, with most players, that's true. But to what degree? To what degree? Larry Bird allowed other players to be amazing and still be great, and to some degree still flourish and show people what they are capable of. He didn't take anything away from Kevin McHale. Sure, would Kevin McHale statistically have been slightly better if Larry Bird wasn't on the team or if some other player was on the team? Sure, but you can say that for most players. But Kevin McHale was still able to shine and still be great with Larry Bird. As did Cornbread before he got traded. As did Chief. As did Bill Walton, coming off the bench with a understood reduced role given his injuries and how nobody else really wanted him. Bill Walton flourished. All these guys flourished around Bird. He didn't, despite Larry Bird averaging as many assists as he didn't monopolize the ball. He wasn't fishing for assists. He was playing just within the flow of the game. If Larry Bird took the approach of LeBron James being the system, the system, Larry Bird would have averaged 29, 30 points per game, 9, 10 assists, and you could give him 12 rebounds a game. He already averaged a double-double. But that wasn't his style of play. That's not how he believed basketball should be played. It wasn't. Especially, that Eastern Conference was a gauntlet compared to the Western Conference in the 80s. It was. The teams Larry Bird had to face, all those guys, they had to face each other. The Milwaukee Bucks, the Atlanta Hawks, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Detroit Pistons. Hell, the Bulls weren't very good, but you still had to deal with Michael Jordan once he came in eventually. The adversity that Larry Bird had to go through was significantly tougher. Without having the top-heavy talent that LeBron James had once he decided to go to the Miami Heat and then fabricate super teams from then on out. But I digress. Larry Bird was 6'9". Some people say 6'10", but he was technically listed at 6'9". LeBron James 6'8". So roughly the same height, except Larry Bird wasn't bulking with muscles and athleticism like LeBron James is. And Larry Bird, in a league, in a time with giants everywhere, averaged 10 rebounds per game, being quote-unquote non-athletic, and without all the physical attributes that LeBron James has in a league that was dominated by bigs and strong guys, averaged 10 rebounds per game. 10. Averaged a double-double on his career. Now, you want to talk about numbers? I got numbers for you, too. I do. Why the hell isn't LeBron James a better rebounder? Why? Why is he not a better rebounder? We are in the year 2023, and this is something that Two Raw for Sports always mention. Why the hell is LeBron James still chasing Michael Jordan in offensive rebounds? Michael Jordan, 6'6", shooting guard, offensive rebounds. Why? Larry Bird, despite what the numbers might tell you, for y'all people that don't actually go back and watch the history of the NBA, you would say LeBron James is a better passer just because he averages more assists than Larry Bird. No. Larry Bird was by far and away a better passer than LeBron James. Go look at the damn footage. But Larry Bird didn't monopolize the ball, and Larry Bird wasn't the end-all, be-all system in the Boston Celtics offense. Yes, he was a key contributor. Yes, he was the best player in the league. But everything did not have to go through him. He was not fishing for either a point or an assist. He would just make the right play and let other people flourish in roles that they were able to flourish in. If Larry Bird took, like I said this earlier, man, I'm starting to repeat myself. Larry Bird averaged all those damn assists, just being instinctually great with passing the basketball. And aesthetically, it's not even close. Larry Bird drops far prettier dimes than LeBron James, aesthetically. It's not even close. Again, and you remember, people have such a short memory. You remember how when, LeBron James became very popular for throwing the freaking full court pass from out of bounds or being on the receiving end of that? Larry Bird was doing that in the 80s. He is the best half-court heave, full-court heave, outlet passer I have ever seen in my life is Larry Bird. He has a whole highlight. I don't know if they actually have an official mixtape. I think they do. But you can make a whole highlight reel of Larry Bird outlet passes with distance. On the mark passes. Quick processing time in his brain. Off one foot, off both feet, you name it. Coming off the floor, you name it. Well, LeBron James is a better scorer. He's the greatest scorer of all time. He has more points all time. I'm not even getting into that. Listen, man. If Larry Bird was really out there trying to score, there would be no comparison. Larry Bird could score in a variety of different ways. Larry Bird was a guaranteed sniper in the mid-range and in the three-point shooting zone. Even though he didn't grow up with the three-point line, even though he wasn't practicing it, even though, as he was growing up through college, there was no three-point line implemented, he was still a sniper. Could you imagine if you take Larry Bird exactly how he is, don't give him any extra nutrition, what they're getting today, don't give him all the availability of resources, just drop him how he was in the 80s into the current league. Could you imagine the type of shooting and scoring he'd be doing? Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. Larry Bird came into the league kicking ass with Magic Johnson. Come on, man. Stop it. Stop it. I've seen Larry Bird be a consistent shooter from all areas of the floor, all situations, double team, triple team, not a hesitant shooter in any area of the floor, not scared to go to the free throw line. He was a marksman, despite not having all the physical attributes. Despite. Now, as a defender, I'll take LeBron James over a defender any day. And then peak for peak at the defensive end, LeBron James was better defensively. No question about that. Was Larry Bird a bad defender like people make him out to be? No, he wasn't. Larry Bird has made some all-defensive teams before. Yes, he has. In Larry Bird's era at his position, it was steep competition to even make these all-defensive teams. That is true. That is absolutely true. But even with that being said, I'll still take LeBron James on the defensive end, peak for peak. But this is something to consider. LeBron James didn't start playing defense until after he joined with Kobe Bryant in the Olympics, and he saw how Kobe Bryant was wired, especially defensively. And then it was only after playing with Kobe in the Olympics did LeBron James start being assertive on the defensive end. Also, probably from when he got with the Lakers, or maybe his last year with the Cavaliers on, he wasn't much of a defender anymore. Larry Bird was a good defender, at a minimum good defender, for the bulk of his career, from the point he came in and to the point where he ended. There was never a question of him being subpar. LeBron James was subpar when he came in up until he actually started playing defense and after. So that's something to consider. Peak for peak, LeBron James is better. But for the longevity of a career, Larry Bird was probably the better defender. Or the most consistent defender. his lows weren't as low as LeBron. Do you want to talk clutch? You see, now, FSN Sports, Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp would lead you to believe that LeBron James was the greatest clutch player of all time. But if you've watched basketball, you would know that's a bunch of malarkey BS. LeBron James he's not more clutch than Larry Bird. It's not even an argument. It's not even an argument at all. Larry Bird was tried and true. LeBron James was scared to shoot that shot for a long stretch of time. LeBron James took time to even start feeling comfort in taking that shot. And yes, he got better at it. Yes, he did. Do his demons still show? It's not the fact that you're going to miss it. Of course, not everybody's going to make every clutch shot. But the fact that he shows discomfort in those situations still, especially when going to the free throw line in clutch situations, he's not comfortable. He's scared at times. So the demons still attack LeBron, but he has gotten significantly better from when he first came in the league. But Larry Bird was tried and true in clutch moments from beginning to the end of his career. The fact that when Larry Bird took the shot, people expected it to go in every time, and when it didn't go in, they were surprised. Come on, man. Come on, man. The numbers, the statistics weren't keeping record of most of those, clutch numbers and all that stuff so much when Larry Bird was playing. So the numbers aren't there like people stuff stats in your face nowadays and skew the numbers for clutch moments. Well, how you define clutch? Oh, when the lead is this amount, or the difference is this amount or this amount of time. Oh, well, when the lead is this amount, when it's this amount of time. Well, the type of players that end up on that list can vary differently depending on how much time is in the clock. What you define as clutch. You know what I mean? A 2-point difference in score with 5 seconds left on the clock proves that this person is the most clutch. But if you expand that time to 10 seconds, all those players can dynamically shift on that list. And now they're saying that these people are more clutch. Come on, man. Y'all, people, we have to be smarter than this. We have to be. This video has gone on way too long, and I can go on for another 40 minutes about saying why Larry Bird is better than LeBron James. And I don't got to shove statistics and numbers in your face to make you believe it. I'm telling you, I take everything into consideration. Numbers, eye test, context, baby. And I know that I am the minority in this belief that Larry Bird is better than LeBron James. So be it. Call me the loony. Call me the guy that doesn't know basketball. Call me this, call me that. I don't give a damn. Not going to change my mind. And I know, especially people who have small memories, especially when it comes to sports, short memory span. I wasn't even around to watch Larry play, but like I said, from what I've seen, I think Larry's better. And I rest my case. Thank you for watching. Check out our Larry Bird playlist. Shout out to the Bird Gang. And I catch you on the next one. We out, baby.